Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Today I am going to deliver a lesson for class 11th, subject zoology. In our previous topic, we discussed in detail about fatty acids and lipids. Now today we will discuss about the classification of lipids. Lipids are broadly classified into three types. Number one is the simple lipid, then the conjugated lipids, and thirdly the derived lipids. So far the simple lipids are concerned, they are actually the esters of fatty acid and alcohol. That is, they are formed by the combination of fatty acid and alcohol through ester linkages. These simple lipids include neutral fats and waxes. The second type of lipids are known as conjugate lipids. These conjugate lipids are actually formed by the combination of a simple lipid with an additional group like phosphorus, sugar, or protein. And accordingly, these conjugate lipids are phospholipids when additional group is phosphorus. And if the additional group with a simple lipid is a sugar molecule, then they form the glycolipids. Similarly, if the additional group is a protein, then there is the combination of a simple lipid with a protein and they form lipoproteins, which are actually the three examples of the conjugate lipids, that is phospholipids formed by combination of simple lipids with a phosphorus additional group, or a glycolipid formed by the combination of a simple lipid with a sugar molecule, or a lipoprotein when a simple lipid combines with a protein molecule. Thirdly, the third type of these lipids is what is called as derived lipids. These derived lipids are formed actually by the hydrolysis of simple or conjugate lipids. Examples are, for example, steroids. Now we will discuss about the examples of simple lipids, conjugate lipids, and derived lipids one by one. First of all, we will take up the examples of simple lipids. The simple lipids include neutral fats, or we call them as true fats, or they are also called as glycerides. These simple lipids are actually the esters of fatty acid and glycerol. That is, they are formed by the combination of glycerol, which is actually a 3-hydroxy propanol, which is actually a 3-hydroxy propane. That is, 3 hydroxyl groups are present on the propane, which is commonly known as glycerol, is a type of trihydroxy alcohol. Now, depending upon the number of fatty acids, these neutral fats are classified as monoglycerides, diglycerides, or triglycerides, depending upon whether one fatty acid combines with this glycerol, or 2 fatty acid, or 3 fatty acid. If one fatty acid combines with this glycerol, then it is known as monoglyceride, that is one glycerol with one fatty acid. If the glycerol combines with 2 fatty acids, then a diglycerol is formed. And similarly, if all the 3 hydroxyl groups combine with the 3 fatty acid molecules, then a triglyceride is formed, that is by the combination of one glycerol with 3 fatty acids. Now, based on their physical nature, these neutral fats are differentiated as oils or hard fats. Now you should understand the difference between oils and hard fats. These oils are actually made of unsaturated fatty acids, and these oils are liquids at room temperature and have low melting point. Examples of oils include sunflower oil, olive oil, groundnut oil. Similarly, mustard oil are from among the animal sources. They include cod liver oil, shark liver oil, etc. Now, so far these hard fats are concerned, they are made of saturated fatty acids. These hard fats usually exist in solid state at room temperature and have a high melting point. Examples of these hard fats are butter, vanaspati, ghee, etc. Now, the second type of simple lipids are called as waxes. For example, beeswax, plant wax found on the plants, which is also known as suberin, or earwax. In human beings, we see wax in the ear, which is also known as cerumen, which is a type of wax. Similarly, sebum, secreted from the skin, is also a type of wax, a simple lipid, etc. These waxes are actually the esters of long chain fatty acids with a long chain alcohol other than glycerol. These waxes usually are soft at warm temperatures and become hard at cold temperature. And these waxes are chemically inert and form water insoluble protective coating on the skin and hair in animals, and on stem, leaves and fruits in plants. Now, the second type of lipids is the conjugate lipid. These conjugate lipids, as I already said, they are formed by the combination of these simple lipids with an additional group like phosphorus, sugar or protein. An example of conjugate lipid, or the examples of conjugate lipids, are phospholipids, glycolipids and lipoproteins. So far these phospholipids are concerned, phospholipid is an example of a conjugate lipid. Phospholipid is in fact a triglyceride lipid in which one fatty acid is replaced by the phosphate group. Here you can see this is a triglyceride, then the one side chain is replaced by a phosphate group. That is why they are called as phospholipid. These phospholipids are actually formed from the triglycerides. Triglycerides are formed from glycerol and 3 fatty acids. This is the glycerol part, and these are the attached 3 fatty acids. But among the 3 fatty acids, one fatty acid is replaced by phosphate group. That is why these are called as phospholipids. These phospholipids are amphipathetic lipids. That is, they carry both hydrophilic polar fatty acid and hydrophobic non-polar hydrocarbon and this phosphate group. These phospholipids form lipid bilayer in cell membranes, which controls the passage of materials into and out of the cell and cell organelles. Now coming to the second type of conjugate lipid, that is the glycolipid. These glycolipids are made of fatty acid and one or more sugars. That is, conjugate lipids formed by the combination of a lipid with a sugar. A lipid plus sugar form a glycolipid. Glycolipids are components of cell membranes and myelin sheath of nerve cells. Now the third type of this conjugate lipid is what is called as the lipoprotein. Lipoproteins are made by the combination of a lipid with a protein, lipoprotein. These lipoproteins or such type of conjugate lipids are found in egg yolk, milk and blood. These lipoproteins are essential for the transport of lipids. Examples of these lipoproteins include, the important examples are high density lipoprotein or HDL, low density lipoprotein or LDL, very low density lipoprotein or VLDL found in our blood, and chylomicrons are the examples of lipoproteins. Now the last type of this conjugate lipids, what is called as the derived lipids. These, the most important example of derived lipids is the steroids and cholesterol. Now these steroids are derived lipids but without the fatty acids. They consist of a 6-membered 3 rings A, B and C as seen in this sketch. The 6-membered 3 rings A, B and C and 1 5-membered ring denoted as D and a long hydrocarbon side chain. Cholesterol is an important example of these steroids. Actually cholesterol is a common sterol or precursor of sex hormones such as progesterone, testosterone, cortisol and vitamin D. It also produces bile salts that help in emulsifying fats during the digestion. And this cholesterol is also an essential component of cell membranes. Now this is all about the classification of lipids. Thank you.